Good Thursday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight, and a lot of that stuff is some of the same stuff, or mostly some of the same stuff that we have been discussing as we go throughout the next like week or so, because the weather's pretty much, the models really haven't changed too much from what we have seen really from last night. So we're going to talk about that. Starting off with obviously what is on tap for tonight. You can see right now that there is indeed widespread dense fog tonight through Friday morning, especially in the southeast part of South Carolina, really mean the low country. Unseasonable warm temperatures persist as you go through early next week, mostly dry conditions through midweek. Low precipitation confidence continues, and then increasing shower and thunderstorm chances late week into the weekend. So, for the most part, these mostly dry conditions that we are seeing, for the most part, is going to be over by the time we get into tomorrow. And so, we're seeing these dry conditions now, midweek. Once we get to tomorrow, once we get through the weekend, that's when that rain chance is really going to go on and bump it up. So that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, make sure you want to hit the subscribe button. Right now, we have around a good 3 people tuned in, 2 likes right now. Go out and also hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Free, and you can change your mind at any time. Also, the drought predictions. Let me go in and put that inside of the chat. I'm just going to put drought has expanded for option number 1. Drought has shrunk / stayed the same. Option number 3, drought and AD, meaning abnormally dry. Actually, no. Drought is gone. Abnormally dry remains. And then the last one being obviously drought and abnormally dry gone. Alright, so that goes on, and that's going to be inside the chat right now. So let's see what's currently going on right now throughout the state of South Carolina. Right now we are nice and dry. No precipitation right now is falling as we speak. No precipitation is falling right now as we speak. We scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. What do you see? You see rainfall activity. You see snowfall activity going on up inside of the Northeast. Mainly, for the most part, going on inside of, like, the Vermont, the New Hampshire areas, the Maine areas. You have some snowfall going on up here near Montana. Some rainfall mixed with some snow in the west. Rainfall also up here in the Pacific Northwest, but the main thing, even though, yes, there is some rainfall in West Virginia, Kentucky, parts of Illinois, Indiana, Florida, but severe weather. This is the main thing going on right now. We have severe thunderstorm warnings going on in Kansas. We have severe thunderstorm warnings going on in Texas and Oklahoma. But there is a tornado warning right now going on over here inside of Oklahoma, going towards Cleo Springs, Oklahoma, right now as we speak. So that goes on for about the next 40 minutes or so. Other than that, though, we are nice and dry over here throughout the states. Everybody else that I didn't really mention, dry. Now for our cloud cover, looks like for the most part we are not really experiencing too much cloud cover, and that was expected. We were kind of expecting not too much cloud cover right now as we speak. And so that was from this morning. I said cloud cover wasn't really going to be too much of an issue. We look at the cloud cover and the fog cover for the future. You're going to push this forward here. It's 9 o'clock p.m. You go in and push this forward, you can see that fog cover starting to kind of push its way inland into like the low country, the Grand Strand areas. You see that fog cover up there building up, and it really pushes in 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. You start to see some cloud cover moving in from the west over into the east, into the upstate areas, and now you have cloud cover activity moving on throughout the parts of the upstate. And then it kind of all connects by the time you get to around 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, and that fog cover goes away. And, now we just see regular cloud cover going on throughout the upstate, going on throughout the Midlands, And we still have some cloud cover going on, still have some foggy activity going on near potentially some coastal areas. But one thing that I am definitely watching for is maybe some early fog as we go into tomorrow. I mean, look at this fog that we see here. I mean, 9 o'clock p.m. And you're starting to see fog easily starting to make its way up into the coastal areas, even into like the inland areas, 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. So, we'll see, but that fall cover could potentially start a lot earlier than what it has been starting as we go into tomorrow night. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Make sure if you encounter any sort of foggy areas, go on and have those low beam headlights on. That is important. Or if your car has fog lights, use them as well. Use both. Because don't use high beams. Do not use high beams. Only use low beams and then also fog lights if you have them. If you don't have them, low beam headlights is fine by itself. You continue your way through though. I mean, cloud cover continues all the way through Friday night. Fog cover continues through there. Then we move into Saturday, and things definitely are still a lot clearer. But for the most part, there is still potentially a little bit of a fog threat as you continue into Saturday night as well. So fog is not leaving us as we continue throughout this weekend. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 63 in Somerville, 61 in Charleston, as well as 63 in Beaufort, 61 Hilton Island, as well as a good 61 in Georgetown, 60 Murray's Inlet and Myrtle Beach, as well as North Myrtle Beach, 62 Conway, and 65 in Florence, 66 inside of Sumter, and 67 in Orangeburg, 66 Aiken and Columbia, 64 Hartsville, 63 in Lancaster and Newbury, as well as Greenwood, 63 Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, Rock Hill. All of these areas really are just inside of that low to mid 50 area, or low to mid 60 area, excuse me. And so, yeah, I mean, you see like some mid to mid 60s going around, a bit inside the Midland areas, but I'm mostly seeing low to mid 60s right now. Air quality for tonight looks like that we are, for the most part, inside the moderate categories. You can see the upstate inside the moderate categories. You can see parts of the Midlands included in there as well. PD areas, Grand Strand areas, Low Country areas, good. Even in the Eastern Midlands, good. We're not really seeing anything there. Only area that we're really watching for right now is up there in the upstate with a little moderate activity. Now, it's not really going to be too bad in terms of like bad air, because moderate, it's more normal, not too abnormal to see moderate conditions. So, nothing to really restrict your time outside by. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 57 in Greenville, 57 in Spartanburg, as well as 58 in Rock Hill, 59 in Straw and Dillon, as well as 59 in Florence, 60 Sumter, and even around a good 60 over there near Sumter, Columbia, 61 inside of Aiken, Orangeburg, Bonwell, 59 in Walterboro and Moncks Corner, Charleston, 61 Hilton Island, 57 up there near Myrtle Beach. And so, for the most part, low temperatures for tonight actually are going to be pretty nice, especially if you're inside the Low Country and the Southern Midlands. But what about for our high temperatures for tomorrow? Have around a good 79 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Anderson. 80 in Newbury and Winsboro, 81 in Camden, 83 Columbia, 81 Sumter, 82 Florence, 82 also inside of Orangeburg, 83 Barnwell, 81 in Walterboro, 73 in Charleston, as well as 76 in Georgetown, 72 Myrtle Beach, and 74 in Hilton Head Island. And so it looks like for sure that our high temperatures, they're rising. They're getting higher, and we probably will rise even more in terms of high temperatures as we continue throughout the next couple of days into next week. I'll show you that once we get into the long-term future. Now, what about for our rainfall? Rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours. Finally, we see non-dry conditions. You have around 1/100 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch going in for Anderson, Greenwood, Spartanburg's included in there as well. And somebody may even see 1/10 of an inch, potentially even up to 1/2 an inch of rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours up there inside the upstate. So make sure that you are prepared for that, as that is definitely possible. I even see like a little area down there inside like the very southern Midlands, up there in the very like northern Low Country, but that's like very spotty, very isolated. I'm not really too concerned about that. Now, for the crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina, and right now we're at a 32. Why? Well, number one, fog precautions. Fog is definitely a huge concern. It has been a huge concern for night on end. And so we are going to continue to see that fog cover continue low country, Midlands as well, Grand Strand areas, PD areas as well. Now, that's really been the main thing. Cloud cover, also possible. But for the most part, in terms of rainfall for tonight, I mean, you're not really going to see that much, if any, at all. So it's going to be a dry night tonight. We're not going to start to see that rainfall starting to move in until we get through towards tomorrow morning. So for right now, we are going to have a dry night, 0% chance of rainfall. Now, as we move on into the SPC outlook for tonight, thunderstorms not expected. Friday, tomorrow. Tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible up there inside the very far upstate. Now, you have the Midlands, you have the Low Country, you have the PD, Grand Strait areas kind of cut off. But the day that we're watching for is Saturday, and I said, or actually I was talking about Monday, so never mind, this is not Saturday. But Saturday, marginal risk of severe weather is here for the very far upstate. Very far upstate. Spartanburg's included Greenville, Clemson, Anderson, Pickens County, Oconee County. Those areas have a risk of severe weather as we go into Saturday, March the 7th, 2026. So we are going to be watching for this. We're going to see what happens. And it's a marginal. So, it's nothing too bad, nothing too crazy. But for right now, it looks like that we are definitely going to have to watch for it. Now, there is no hatching with it, I believe. There's no hatching with it, so it's just a regular marginal risk of severe weather. Now, for fire weather, there is nothing that we're looking for here. Excessive rainfall, nothing here, so we are good there. So let's go in and look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of the screen. Make sure that you go in and pay attention to that because that is very important to go on and look at. Very, very important to go on and look at. So as we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., we move on to 10 o'clock, and we just push through the night. I mean, you don't see anything. You see a little shower trying to move its way north through Georgia, 7 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock in the morning comes along, though. And that shower that we were seeing traverse all the way north through Georgia moves its way up inside of the state of South Carolina. Now, that's all the way 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. I mean, you see now showers, moderate rainfall activity going on throughout this area. And so it's relatively isolated. We're not seeing anything like heavy downpours throughout a good amount of the area. I mean, we're not seeing the entire state being covered with rainfall. This is only one specific area, and it's up there in the very far upstate. And so, as this pushes along, we get all the way through 2 o'clock p.m., 3 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m.-ish or so. And then you start to see the rainfall starting to kind of spread out a little bit more. Now, it still looks light. I'm still not seeing widespread downpours throughout the entire state. But what you are seeing by the time you get into Friday afternoon is isolated drizzle activity, isolated shower activity. That even goes in the evening. And one area that is kind of new to getting in on this is the Low Country. You can see a little shower down there, which is what the map was just looking like when I just showed it around 2 or 3 minutes ago of accumulation inside of the state of South Carolina. That's why. Little shower trying to pop up inside the Low Country as you get into tomorrow evening. So that continues through. You get through Friday, we get through Saturday. Like Friday night going into Saturday morning. You still see rainfall trying to get its way through. Even though it looks like that we could have a little bit of a dry spot as we get into around 8, 9, 10-ish o'clock or so. Rainfall definitely will be trying to come back. I mean, here's Saturday, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and a lot of that activity has moved its way back up all the way back into the upstate. So no longer really inside of that like central area. You know, we're not seeing any more showers really inside the low country as you get throughout the nighttime hours. And so as we move into the morning time, 9 o'clock in the morning, we're starting to see some more shower activity get on 9 a.m. here on Saturday. That goes all the way through into the afternoon, and you know you're still seeing isolated shower activity here and there. So for the most part, what we are seeing is just shower activity that's scattered here and there as we go not only throughout tomorrow morning into like tomorrow afternoon, but also just continuing on all the way to Saturday. But one thing that you also are seeing, look at that huge system that we have coming down. This is Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. right here. Look at this huge system we have that's now starting to move its way into the state at this point, as we get into like Saturday night, Sunday morning. So that's what we're looking at here. Now, if we go in and look at the thunderstorm risk, let me see it right here. You go on and push this forward, and one thing that you do see is you do see some thunderstorm activity potentially early in the morning on Friday. I mean, I see like a couple of flashes here and there, so that might be something to look for. But for right now, very, very isolated. But, you know, still have that thunderstorm threat as you move through Friday, Friday evening, Friday night, potentially as well going into Saturday. And then, you know, you're not really seeing too much on Saturday, but you are seeing the flashes. You are seeing the lightning definitely occur. So that is why we have a thunderstorm risk, not only for tomorrow, but also potentially some severe weather on Saturday, which is why we have this huge area right here moving through as we get all the way through into Saturday night, because for the most part, it looks like that this severe weather risk on Saturday potentially is going to be a nighttime threat. So not during the day or anything like that. It's going to be later. So let's go in and look at the long-term future. We're going to start off where we just ended off here at the 54-hour mark, 7 o'clock p.m. And you can see there goes the rainfall moving throughout the state. But one thing that I will say is it's definitely not as heavy like as it is you can see in Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana. You know, you're not seeing anything too crazy. Now, you move all the way through here Sunday, 2 o'clock p.m., 5 o'clock p.m., you know, 8 o'clock p.m.-ish or so here on Sunday. And you still are seeing rainfall activity, but also as you move through Monday, I mean, still, this active activity that we have going into this weekend will still remain into early next week. Now, that will go on and move through even into Tuesday. You know, Wednesday comes along, things start to really clear out. Still have some potential shower activity. Same thing on Thursday. So it looks like that next week could definitely be pretty active. I mean, not only as we move throughout the early week time frame, but potentially going into like the later week time frame as well. So might be a bit of an active week as we go into next week. But even as you move into next weekend, I mean, look at all this rainfall that we have moving through here. Potentially something else to watch for. And then once we get to the mid part of the month, things may try to chill out, may start to just go on and say, okay, well, maybe we should finally calm down. Maybe we shouldn't bring as much rainfall anymore. But I'm definitely not complaining about this rainfall because there is currently a drought going on throughout the state. So I'm definitely not complaining about this rainfall one bit. But the thing that you should take away, definitely an active future. Definitely active. I think more active than what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. So that's why I said enjoy these dry days that we had the past couple of days while we had them, because things could be getting back active. Now, will everybody in the state of South Carolina will be receiving rain every single day? No, not saying that. There are going to be some days to where, you know, somebody may not see rain for a day or two. But throughout just the state in general, somebody is going to receive that rainfall one way or another as we go throughout next week. So we'll see what happens, and especially as we get into next week, we'll see, you know, what the short-term future models have to say, ARRR, NAM, stuff like that. But for right now, looks pretty active. Now, as we go into our temperatures for the future, We start off here at 1 o'clock a.m. and on Friday. You go in and push this forward, and you see some more warm activity going on. That goes all the way through into Saturday, into Sunday as well, into this weekend, going into early next week. I mean, you just see nice, warm conditions going on. And as you move into next week, this was the time frame that we were talking about, going into Friday of next week, cold air will be trying to rush down from the north, almost like another cold air damming setup, to where we have cooler conditions on the eastern side of the mountains, not so cool conditions on the west side of the mountains. And so this could potentially be another one of those setups again. Now, it doesn't last long. Definitely does not last long for sure. But the one thing that I'm looking at is this cold front as we move into next weekend. We talked about this last night. But this cold front that we're talking about and that we're looking at here as we go into next weekend is what I am looking at and saying, how is this gonna affect the temperatures? And it looks like right now that it could potentially not be as significant as it was last night. Because if you go on and let's go ahead and push the models back. Let's go and look at what yesterday had to say real quick. 18Z. We're going to go right here into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But what do you notice? I mean, just downright chilly conditions, 10 to 15 degrees below average as we go into March the 17th. Let's go in and look at what the models had to say for today. A huge increase, like 20, 25 degree increase from what we were saying. And so that's why I always say, gotta watch for these models as you get 200 to 300 plus hours out. I mean, this is just that huge flip that we had in one day from potentially 15 degrees below average mid-March to now 10 degrees above average mid-March. You just gotta continue to watch for it because this big flip that we just had happened overnight. And you usually hear a lot of things about how things don't happen overnight. This definitely can, and it did. So a huge change right here. And we're going to continue to look at it. We're going to, as we go throughout, this weekend, going into especially next week, and as we get into like next weekend, we'll definitely have a better understanding of what this will look like and what this cold front will look like as we go into the weekend of, next weekend. So we'll see what happens there. But for right now, still looks like that we are going to mostly remain above average in terms of our temperatures. Now, if we go in and look at our actual temperatures, so like the actual feel like temperatures and what the temperatures actually are, we're going to continue to stay in the 80s tomorrow. Saturday, still in the 80s. Sunday, still in the 80s. Monday, still in the 80s. Tuesday, still in the 80s going into Wednesday. Still in the 80s. Thursday, still in the 80s. So, I mean, like, we're going to stay in the 80s as we go all the way into next week. But then we have a little bit of cold air trying to move on through as we get into, like, later next week, like Friday going into Saturday. But then warmer air will definitely be coming back. But, like I said, that as that cold front moves through as we go into Sunday and Monday of March the 15th, March the 16th, that cold air isn't going to last as long as we thought. We're going to be right back up into the 80s. I can even see some mid to maybe upper 80s as we go into some of these parts of like mid to late March, which would make sense. I mean, it's mid to late March. We should be getting some of those temperatures up for the most part. But if we go in and look at the ensembles now, here's the GEFS right here. We're going to start off at around the 200-hour mark, and we're going to go to the mean. Go on and push this forward. You have temperatures staying up into the 70s for the most part. Do you see really anything in terms of the 80s, though? I mean, not really. You see that cool down as we go into, like, the mid parts of March for sure. You definitely are starting to see those that cool down starting to happen down into the 30s. You're not really seeing anything high temperature-wise into the 70s and, high 80s or anything like that from the ensemble. So the ensembles definitely don't think it's going to be that warm at all. But that's all I have to say in terms of the long-term future. So let's go on and talk about the drought. If you have no idea what the drought monitor is and why we predict it, it is a thing that we do over here just for fun, and we see if we can guess the drought conditions going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And so I'm on a losing streak. I think I lost last week, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did lose last week, and I think the majority of us lost last week, except for maybe like a small 20-30% of people won last week. So we're gonna see if the majority can get back inside the win column. And so if you don't know what the drought monitor is, like I said, and you don't know the categories for it, you have the drought, the abnormally dry, and then the none category. So let's go in and check out the chat real quick and see what it's looking like inside of the chat right now. So looking at it, seems like 80%. 80% says that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. 20% says that the drought has expanded. 0% says that the drought is gone or the abnormally dry is gone. So we are right now seeming like we are more in that majority of the drought has shrunk / stayed the same category. And so let's go in and check and get my prediction in the books right now. So look, I'm just looking at it, and I see definitely a good amount of precipitation, and so I see around 2 inches of rainfall. I see around a good maybe 2.5 inches of rainfall over there in the northern low country, western Midlands, 1.5 inches inside of Columbia, inch and a half in Georgetown. See around a good 1/2 inch up there inside of the Greenville, Spartanburg area. So good amount. But I think I'm gonna have to be a part of the majority again this week and say that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same, because honestly, I just don't see how really it would go up in those conditions. But it is getting hotter, and so that's gonna mean potentially more rainfall for it to really go on and kind of drop that drought down. So we're gonna go on and check that out right now. Let me go and get a drum roll real quick. If I can find it, there it is. Go and get the drum roll real quick, and that's an ad. And we will go on and reveal this. Just give it about 5 to 10 seconds, and the drum roll will be started, and we will go on and reveal that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is a huge shrinkage. This is exactly what we want to see right here. The drought inside of the Columbia area, the Aiken area, the Orangeburg areas has now completely gone, and now just abnormally dry. So this is great, and the majority of us were correct. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a round of applause here. Again, this is a very, very, very good sign to see right here. Very good sign to see, because let's go in and take a little bit more into depth. But the biggest change is obviously in the middle part right here. Lexington County, Richland County, parts of Orangeburg, all of Calhoun County, southern Kershaw County, good amount of Aiken County, Barnwell County. Now inside the abnormally dry, no longer inside of the moderate drought, the D1 or even the D2. Now, just because they're out does not mean that everybody else is out of the woods. We still have this huge D3 drought that we desperately need to go away. Anderson, Lawrence, Southern Spartanburg, Greenville, Union, over in here inside of Greenwood, and Northern McCormick. Those areas need the rainfall the most throughout the state right now. D2, severe drought going on all the way from Dillon through Marlboro, Chesterfield, Lancaster, Chester, York, up into Pickens, Coney, northern Greenville, even northern Edgefield County, and also pretty much a good amount of the Low Country and Georgetown, Williamsburg counties are all included in the D2. D1, Horry County is going through Marion, Florence, Lee, Clarendon, moving on through a good amount of Lexington, Aiken, Fairfield, northern Kershaw, as well as southern Chesterfield, and a good amount of Darlington. So, maybe some counties I may have accidentally left out, but for the most part, huge improvement going on here in the central part of the state, not the central U.S. So, I'm glad to see that, And hopefully we can get some more rainfall this weekend, more rainfall next week to go in and bring this down even more, because we want this drought to be gone. We want this drought to be gone. So let's go in and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. That's the models. There we go. Starting off, my Aunt Lula was here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Nana says, hello, Jay. Hello to you. My Aunt Lula says, I pray that everyone enjoyed the beautiful day we had. I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula says, today in Georgetown, Ohio was around 76 degrees. Currently, temperatures are around 62. Well, right now at my house, temperatures are around 65 degrees or so. And my high temperature for today was around a good 80 to 81 degrees. Yeah, 81 degrees is what we got to today. So, very good, very warm outside. My Nana says, a beautiful day. I soaked up some rays this afternoon. I hope tomorrow is as nice. Well, luckily for you, it looks like for the most part that you will be having another nice day. For the most part, maybe a bit foggy, but looks like for right now that no chance of rain, highs up in the 80s, so things look to be good for you tomorrow. Maya Lewis says, we started off with some little fog this morning, but it cleared up. Same thing here. I didn't really see too much fog. I saw some fog like in some isolated spots, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad. My yard is a red-hot mess. Hopefully you can go outside and get that cleaned up. Milo says, I'm looking forward to the 80s this weekend. I am as well, even though, we already got into the 80s today, at least for where I am. But I know in different parts of the state it's different. Yes, rain we needed. Don't care for thunderstorms, though. That says, good evening, just from the 360 Weather family. Good evening to you. I trust all is well with everyone. It was another glorious day here in San Antonio. Highs in the upper 70s. Unfortunately, there was no rain, but it was very breezy and mild. And mildly hot, but bearable. My wife and I did some yard work. We removed a crepe myrtle from in front of her office window and cut back a few plants to make room for new growth. Well, glad that y'all got some great stuff done, even though it was, mildly hot. But at least it was bearable and you were able to go in and get some yard work done. Trail says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. And then my Aunt Lou says, lightning is dangerous for me because I have all of these trees I have around my house. And she got the drought monitor prediction correct. So congratulations to you for that. And so that's about all that I can see here throughout the chat. So let's go in and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their forecast for them. So starting off with San Antonio first, low temperatures tonight at around 69, high temperatures tomorrow at around 83, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 70. Slight chance of showers as you go into tonight, but then a chance of showers as you go all the way through tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. So all of that you have to watch out for. Now, in terms of your severe weather, in terms of your excessive rainfall, we were just talking about how you had a chance for severe weather as we went throughout the next couple of days. But let's go on and see what they have updated now. Well, right now, it looks like that you are still under that marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. It's mainly right now just a marginal risk, 5 to a 14% chance of severe hail is possible for tomorrow. So just watch out for some isolated hailstones of up to an inch in diameter. But that's not your biggest day. That is not your biggest day at all. Saturday, March the 7th, 2026, you have a slight risk of severe weather, and you have a 15% SIG 1 risk of severe weather, which means you have a 15 to a 30% chance of receiving severe weather on Saturday, and some of it could potentially be significant to an extent. So definitely make sure that you are paying attention for Saturday. If you have anything planned outside for Saturday, you definitely are going to want to try to work around it. Definitely. Because right now, like I said, severe weather definitely is coming on Saturday. So make sure that you are prepared for it. In terms of excessive rainfall for you, you do have a risk for some excessive rainfall as well, and also you also are pretty close for another threat for some severe weather on Tuesday of next week as well. But for excessive rainfall for you, looks like day 3, Saturday, March the 7th, you have a slight risk of flash flooding, meaning scattered flash flooding is possible for you on Saturday. So Saturday is just really not the day to really be doing anything outside, really, because just not only with the 15% chance of severe weather, but also the 15% risk of flash flooding as well. Then you have a 5% risk, isolated flash flooding possible Sunday and Monday as well. So that's what you have to look out for there. And for your future, it looks like for the most part that you are going to continue to be active, not only as you go throughout Friday, but Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then finally some dryness coming in on Thursday. So it's just overall not looking that great over there in San Antonio as you go throughout this weekend, the rest of the weekend, and even early to even midweek next week. But your temperature, though, at least will be good. You know, you'll be up into the 80s. You may try to creep down to the 70s a little bit as you go into Sunday. But, I mean, for the most part, temperature is staying up into the 80s for the most part. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, low temperatures tonight at around 60. High temperatures tomorrow at around 81. And low temperatures tomorrow night at around 62. No precipitation is expected at this time. So, you know, there's nothing else really too crazy for me to say there. And in terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall, that stuff also not expected either. So it looks like, I mean, you definitely probably have the quietest future, most likely, as we go throughout, you know, these 4 areas. And, you know, it's showing. Because not only do you have no threat for any sort of severe weather or excessive rainfall, but also just for the fact that for your future in general, I mean, you're going to be dry until maybe Sunday, you know, parts of Monday, but after that, looking dry. Now, as you go into midweek next week, things might change. You know, chance of precipitation being 30% Wednesday, went on Wednesday, 60% on Thursday. So, you know, things will start to climb back up a little bit, but for the most part, looks like that you will continue to be up even into the 80s as well for your high temperature. So I definitely would see that as an absolute win. We definitely would see that as an absolute win in my book. Let's go on now and talk about Philadelphia being the 3rd location with low temperatures tonight at around 38. High temperatures tomorrow at around 46. Then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 39. Rain is expected tonight. Patchy fog is going on. Patchy fog will also be occurring tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. No precipitation tomorrow during the day, but tomorrow night there is also a chance of rainfall there. Now, no severe weather and no excessive rainfall is expected for you, so you're good there. But one thing that I will say is that for your future, definitely does look like that you will try to get a little bit drier and you will try to warm up. I mean, like, you're going into Saturday 60 degrees, you're going into Monday at 68, you're going into Tuesday at 74, Wednesday 75. So definitely a huge increase, and I know a lot of people in Philadelphia might be a bit excited about that, but I know some people probably won't be too happy about that at all. And then for the most part, I mean, I don't really see anything else. Rainfall possible as you go into parts of this weekend, and then rainfall really won't come back into around Tuesday night, Wednesday or so. And then finally, for the final location, that being inside of Duncan, Oklahoma, probably being the most active of the 4, with low temperatures tonight at around 61, high temperatures tomorrow at around 77, and low temperatures tomorrow night at around 45. Showers/thunderstorms are likely tonight. Tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms, and then showers will turn likely as you go throughout tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, there is also a chance of showers as you go into tomorrow night as well. So that's what we're looking at there. For your future, looks like in terms of severe weather, that you do in fact have a risk for some severe weather. That being for not only for tonight, which for the most part for tonight, you still have that threat. I mean, the severe weather has not quite even made it to you yet. It is actually still on the way there. So you're not out of the woods just yet, Not out of the woods just yet. Tomorrow, another risk for some more severe weather. Not only do you have a 2% chance for tornadoes, but a 5% chance of damaging winds and a 5% chance of damaging hail as well, with a SIG 1 risk, pretty much meaning that you have now some of that hail could potentially be up to 2 inches in diameter as you go into tomorrow. So make sure that you're watching out for that. And then after that, you're done until Tuesday, where you're potentially receiving even more severe weather after that. Excessive rainfall for you looks like that you are, for the most part, good. Maybe tonight you might see some isolated flash flooding if some of those storms get going, but for right now, you're done. I did see a thing inside the chat as well from my mom. She says, "What is the forecast in Montgomery, Alabama for this weekend?" For this weekend, I'm going to do that one real quick. Let me see. Let me go over here as well. But inside of Montgomery for this weekend, high Saturday 84, 77 on Sunday, but it will be rainy, 30% on Saturday, 40% Saturday night, 70% on Sunday, and then 50% chance of thunderstorms Sunday night as well. And then in terms of severe weather, looks like for the most part that Montgomery is actually inside of it, has a chance for severe weather on Saturday. Isolated severe storms are possible on that day. And that's all that I can see here for the weekend. So definitely going to be a rainy week and stormy, maybe even severe weather definitely possible this weekend. Now, so what's going on in terms of the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, severe thunderstorms and flash flooding are possible across the central U.S. through Saturday. Large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes are possible. There is an increased threat for wildfire development in the southern to central high plains. A wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain are forecast across portions of the northern plains and the central New England area into early Friday morning. And so, we've been talking about that. We talked about the severe weather threat, and I told you, if you know anybody from, Green Bay, Wisconsin, or all the way from the UP of Michigan down through Chicago, down through Iowa, down through Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Dallas, San Antonio, over there inside of San Angelo, Abilene, Texas. If you know anybody inside of any of those areas, even Louisiana, let them know severe weather is coming for them. Severe weather is coming for them pretty soon, and it will continue to move its way east. Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, West Virginia, not Philadelphia, but like Pittsburgh, Western New York. They have that chance on Saturday. So this severe weather train is going to continue to move its way east, and every day as we continue all the way throughout, potentially Saturday, Sunday, severe weather will definitely be possible. And will our day be on Sunday? Well, we'll see what they have to say tomorrow night. But that's all that I can see here. Make sure that if you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Right now we have around, let me see if I can pull this back up. I clicked the wrong tab. There we go. If you've not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. 16 people tuned in, only 7 likes for tonight. I'm going to go in and cancel this drought prediction poll because we're done with that. And top fans of the night for tonight, seems like Mount Lulu is at number 1 for tonight. And then, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. My Nana was at number 2 for tonight. And then that was at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being a subscriber to the channel, being here early, and being active. If you do all 4, you will guaranteed be inside the top 3 somewhere, most likely. But let's go and give them a round of applause for them 3. So that's all I have to say. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Friday morning forecast update. We only have one more day left to go, and we will be there to the weekend. I'll also be back tomorrow evening for your Friday evening forecast update as well. Make sure that you're there for that. And everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday evening. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave for tonight. Oh, and I also showed Thad's picture as well because he sent me one. I'll go in and show that at the end if you want to see that.